Marcus had always treasured that backpack. Bold royal blue with Batman mid-leap across the front. It was his pride and joy, the one thing. He insisted on carrying himself every single morning down to the bus stop. As his father, I never imagined something so simple could explode into a full neighborhood crisis. That morning, the sky over Maplewood Crest had barely begun to brighten when my phone buzzed on the counter. I was only a few sips into my coffee when I saw Marcus's name on the screen. His voice was unsteady. "Dad, there's a woman out here yelling at me. She says my backpack breaks the rules, and I can't wait at the bus stop." Behind him, I could hear a sharp, piercing voice cutting through the air like a drill. "Put me on speaker," she shrieked. I told Marcus calmly, "Stay right there. I'm coming." I grabbed my keys, deliberately left the department vehicle in the garage. I didn't want this to become a badge situation and headed out. When I turned the corner toward the bus stop, there she was. A middle-aged woman in expensive athletic wear, her highlighted blonde hair sitting in perfect layers, standing with the posture of someone who believed the world answered to her. Her eyes were locked onto Marcus's backpack like it was a threat. I approached steadily. "Is there a problem here?" Her head snapped around sharply. "Yes, there absolutely is," she announced. "I'm Linda Hargrove, president of the Maplewood Crest HOA." I glanced down at Marcus, who had both arms wrapped around his backpack tightly. "And what exactly is the issue?" I asked. She swiped through her phone with dramatic purpose. "Article 9, Clause 4, she declared. "All items visible from shared community spaces must follow the approved neutral color palette." "That backpack is a direct violation." I stared at her. "You're telling me a child's school backpack is a problem because it's blue and yellow?" She folded her arms with full confidence. "Rules are rules. This bus stop sits on HOA property. If we allow exceptions, where does it end? Property values don't protect themselves." I kept my tone measured. "Miss Hargrove, my son is waiting on a public school bus. That backpack is not a permanent structure. It is simply a child's belongings." She cut me off. "Don't try to talk around HOA authority. I have held this position for 7 years, and I have never backed down. Either your son leaves this stop, or I call security." I let out a quiet laugh. "Security? For a superhero backpack?" Marcus looked up at me with wide, anxious eyes. "You're fine, buddy," I said softly. In the distance, I could see the bus turning onto our street. I gave Marcus the signal to move forward, but Linda stepped directly into his path. "He is not boarding that bus with that bag," she snapped. That was the moment I stopped being subtle. "Miss Hargrove," I said, my voice calm but carrying full weight. "I am not only Marcus's father. I am also Commander David Calloway of the Maplewood Crest Police Division. What you are doing right now, physically blocking a child from accessing public education, could constitute obstruction." Her expression flickered. Fear, then recognition, then stubbornness. "Your rank does not make you immune to HOA bylaws," she said, though her voice had lost its edge. The bus groaned to a stop. "Go ahead, Marcus," I said. She moved to block him again. I stepped forward. She reached out and grabbed my forearm, her nails digging in hard. "This is not over," she hissed. I calmly removed her hand. "Do not touch me again," said quietly. Marcus paused on the bottom step and looked back at me. I gave him a single nod. The doors shut. The bus pulled away. Linda turned on me with a shaking finger. "You have made a serious enemy today. I'm calling an emergency HOA meeting tonight. By the time this board is done with you, you won't be able to breathe wrong in this neighborhood without facing a fine." I held her gaze. "I'd like to see the specific bylaw that regulates a child's school backpack," I said. "Please, go ahead and show me," she fumbled. "It falls under aesthetic standards. I have discretionary authority to interpret those." I smiled politely. "Perfect. Then I'll see you tonight. And I'll be bringing the county code enforcement officer as my guest. They've been looking to review this HOA's practices." That landed hard. Her left eye twitched slightly. Without another word, she turned and marched stiffly back toward her manicured home. I stood watching her go, then pulled out my phone. That afternoon, I made several calls. One to our family attorney, Two neighbors who had their own long-standing issues with Linda's leadership, and one to the county compliance office. By 6 o'clock, I had a clean folder of written complaints, photographs, and signed testimonies from multiple residents. At T7 sharp, I walked into the HOA clubhouse in full police uniform. Linda was already seated at the head table, surrounded by her board allies. The room buzzed with whispers the moment I entered. Her rehearsed confidence stumbled when she noticed my badge and rank stripes. "We are here to discuss community standards violations," she announced, pushing forward. "Specifically, items appearing in shared spaces that violate our established guidelines." She aimed a remote at the projector. The screen filled with an enlarged photo of Marcus's backpack, taken that very morning. "This," she said with contempt, "is dragging our property values through the mud." She finished, and looked directly at me, expecting humiliation. Instead, I stood. "Thank you, Miss Hargrove. Before addressing the backpack, I'd like to raise a more urgent matter." I opened my folder. "This morning, Linda Hargrove physically blocked my son from boarding his school bus. I have signed witness statements." She also grabbed my arm. "These photographs show the marks left behind." The room went completely silent. "Under state law," I continued, "this constitutes simple assault, particularly serious when a minor is involved. Blocking a child from school transportation also violates education access codes." Linda shot up. "I was enforcing community rules," she insisted, but several board members were visibly disturbed. "No, HOA bylaw supersedes state law," I said calmly, "and I have reviewed the full HOA covenant. Nowhere does it authorize regulating a child's temporary personal belongings." I addressed the room. "I am not filing charges tonight, but given the pattern of harassment multiple residents have experienced, I have invited County Inspector Patricia Webb to observe this meeting and begin a compliance audit." A composed woman in a charcoal blazer stood at the back. Linda's face dropped. "You cannot bring outside officials in here," she snapped. Inspector Webb stepped forward. "Any resident may request a review. Based on what I have already seen, there are grounds for formal investigation." Linda's composure collapsed entirely. "This is a takeover," she screamed, pointing at me. "You are using your badge to seize control of this HOA." She grabbed her binder and hurled it across the room. It struck Inspector Webb directly in the shoulder. The room gasped. I crossed toward her steadily. "Miss Hargrove, you are under arrest for assaulting a county official. Please place your hands behind your back." Her face twisted in rage. "You cannot arrest me. I am the HOA president," she bellowed as I recited her Miranda rights. As I let her out, the board called an immediate vote. The result was unanimous. Linda Hargrove was removed as HOA president, effective immediately. "You will all regret this," she cried, as we passed the board display where her portrait had hung. "I built this neighborhood." The next morning, she was released on bail with a restraining order prohibiting contact with Marcus or our home. Outside the Curtis's, she walked directly into a crowd of news cameras. The story of an HOA president assaulting a police commander's child was headline gold. Linda tried to hide her face with her handbag. "No comment," she repeated, but it was far too late. The entire meltdown had been captured on camera for the whole county to see, and from that day forward, nothing Linda Hargrove had ever enforced in Maplewood Crest. Not her neutral color palettes. Not her 7 years of rigid rule enforcement. Not a single approved beige fence would be what anyone remembered. What they would remember was the moment she lost everything, live, on camera, in front of the whole world. If you believe HOA power trips have gone too far, hit that like button and subscribe for more real neighborhood stories, where justice always shows up on time, and usually in uniform.